really bad motorcycle accident. I was in the hospital for 4 months, in a wheelchair for 6 months. You know, the same old BS. You know, you're not gonna be able to ride a motorcycle. Be lucky that you're alive. I was kind of in this destructive phase of, you know, just the booze and the pills and the, you know, I'm not hurt. It wasn't until I read a book about climbing Mount Everest, which was called Into Thin Air by John Krakauer. And it was about all these people that died and this mayhem on the mountain. It was the worst commercial disaster on Everest, you know. It affected me a different way than most people would. And it just inspired me. I was like, that's it. It was like this light bulb went off in my head. You know, I'll show the doctors, this is what I'm gonna do. So boom, subletted the apartment in Hollywood, packed everything into the storage, got a 2-year open-end ticket to Nepal, and after about 4 years of intense training, I made my first attempt on Everest. It's a big question. Everybody says, what do you do next, right? And you know, so I'm like, ballroom dancing. You know, like, no, that's not gonna work. So that's not gonna fill the void. You know, so what's gonna fill the void? And one day I'm sitting on my couch and it was Memorial Day. I'm watching this program that was filmed at Arlington Cemetery, and this was all these injured war veterans that were getting up and speaking on the podium, and this one guy walks up and didn't even look like a human. I mean, he was just burned beyond recognition. And I watched him sitting there and talking about how proud he was to be an American, and I'd go back and I'd fight, you know, tomorrow if they let me go back, and you know, I love my country, and I was just like, you know, like the you know, the tears are like trying to hold him back, you know, like wow. And it was this light bulb just went off in my head. I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna not just climb, you know, for me, I'm gonna have a cause behind it, and that's gonna be helping out these injured war vets. And hence the Heroes Project started. You know, a lot of these guys are coming back and they're just, you know, there's been, since the invasion of Iraq in 2003, there's been over 43,000 injured American veterans. So there's no shortage of guys, and that's where I come in. The wheelchair stops. There's a new chapter in your life. It was the first climb, and I had this kid, you know, who is a retired Army, you know, 21 years old, got blown up, stepped on an IED, and that was on a mountain called Mount Elbrus, which was just over 17,000 feet. It's the tallest mountain in Europe. You know, for 3 weeks of just intense going up, going down, acclimating our body and setting our high camps, and then finally we went for the push. And it was just, you know, one of those like extremely cold nights. He was having problems, his stump was blistering, and it was bleeding, and it was, you know, he just wanted to turn around and quit, and it was just, you know, I got, come on man, you can do this, 10 more steps, 10 more steps. And then finally, you know, the sun comes up over the horizon and we get over this one little ridge. And I go, look, and he takes a look and he realizes that after this 3 weeks of hell, wow, I'm gonna do it, you know? And I took his rope off him and he's like, what are you doing, what are you doing? You know, because he's had the safety of the rope with me. And I said, no, this is all about you now, man. You're safe, it's good, you know, this is not about me, this is not about the war, this is not about, you know, your family, this is about you. Like, here you are 2 years after getting blown up with no leg, and you're about to stand on the summit of Elbrus, man. So go get it, man. It's your time, it's your moment. He just started going up to the summit, and as a climber, the big moment is always, you get to the summit, you take your picture, boom, another notch in the belt. You hang the photo of you standing on the summit of this big mountain on your mantle in your living room, right? And that's always the big, that's the money prize, right? It's the money shot. And it was the first time in my climbing career where the last thing that was going through my head was taking those last 50 steps and standing on the summit. It was all about him. And watching him, you know, with the one leg, hobbling up to the summit and finally getting to the point and throwing his arms up, you know, and screaming and yelling, yeah, and he's crying and he's yelling and screaming. It was like, I sat there like, wow. I can't afford to take, you know, 1,000 guys up these mountains, but the actual real life change is for the one guy that we focus on. And it's not just the climb, you know, it's the training. Bryce Kurosawa, which is one of West Hollywood Equinox's main trainers. Bryce has been a huge factor on preparing programs for these guys with no limbs. And it was kind of ironic because, you know, most of Bryce's clients, you know, in Hollywood, you know, it's like actors and, you know, and pretty boys and models and all this stuff, you know, and then here comes this 21-year-old kid with no legs, and I'm like, you gotta design a workout program for this kid, and by the way, I'm taking him up a 20,000-foot mountain, you know, and Bryce just, boom, right for it. It takes a certain type of trainer to take a guy with no legs and give him a workout program and make him feel good about himself, you know? And that's what Bryce and the Equinox trainers have done for the Heroes Project.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You did it. All you. We're literally changing lives. And so when I started the Heroes Project with Equinox, we came up with this idea called Cycle for Heroes. And we rent out the Santa Monica Pier, and we put 300 spinning bikes on the pier, and it's 3 hours of rock and roll music, period, non-stop. I always tell everybody, I'm like, look, man, I don't want you to just write a check. I don't just want your money, I want your sweat. I want you to show these guys that, hey, you know what? We haven't forgotten about you. And we're here to tell you, let you know that we got you. It's like, you know, the old saying, it takes a village, right? The village is Equinox.